Dual wielding is hands down my favorite weapon type in the First Berserker Khazan. When built right, it dishes out a ridiculous amount of damage, and what really makes it shine is the sheer variety of playstyles it supports. Whether you're into aggressive rushdown, high skill dodging or parrying, or just want to spam a flashy ability, Dual Wield has something for you. In my last video, I covered a full leveling guide for a specific build that revolves around Howling Blade spam. But now that I've spent even more time with the weapon and really nailed down the ins and outs of the moveset, I want to go deeper. This is going to be a full breakdown of all the skills, armor, accessories, and combos that work, and the ones that don't, so you can find the best setup that suits your own playstyle. Let's start with the core abilities, beginning with a comparison that defines a lot of builds and one that was asked about a lot on my last video. Howling Blade vs Whirlwind. Howling Blade in my testing not only does a little bit more damage, but it also comes out quicker. So right out of the gate, you're looking at bigger damage numbers with Howling Blade. But numbers only tell part of the story. Howling Blade excels when you build your kit around it. It's got low commitment, locks down enemies, and flows naturally into other moves. It's easy to spam, easy to combo, and just straight up fun. Whirlwind, on the other hand, has a higher skill cap. It's not something you can throw out freely. You really need to know when you have a proper opening, and even then, it's mostly useful in niche situations, and isn't really going to define your build. I wouldn't really rely on it unless you have a very specific plan. Phantom Sword Dance is one of those abilities that feels too good to pass up. It summons a phantom that mimics your attacks and provides a massive damage boost for very little investment. It's especially effective when paired with the best dual wield armor in the game that we will be going over later, and it's absolutely essential if you're running a Howling Blade focused build. Realistically, this skill fits into almost every dual wield build and should be considered core. Massive Blow, another essential skill. Massive Blow allows you to land extra heavy attacks right after a charged heavy. Running charged heavies are at the heart of your basic combo structure, especially when you're trying to break stamina bars or stun lock bosses. Without this skill, you'll be missing out on a ton of follow-up damage. Next up, we have Gale vs Dragon Slayer. It's a similar situation as Howling Blade vs Whirlwind. Dragon Slayer's animation is just way too long, which makes it hard to fit into real fights. Gale isn't amazing either, but it's a bit more flexible and gives you the vigor buff, which provides some nice damage bonus against bosses. Between the two, Gale is the better pick, though to be honest, you can skip both if your build doesn't rely on them. In my last video, I treated Ruthless a bit too harshly. Despite how easy it looks to use, Ruthless is actually a bit advanced. It has the potential for extremely high damage, but only if you understand enemy attack patterns and can confidently recognize long openings. I'd recommend it more for experienced players or just during the early parts of the game where enemies move a little bit slower, and where it also has great synergy with one of the earliest sets in the game in the Fallen Lord set. Outrage is a no-brainer skill. Outrage enables sprinting heavies, which are critical to your combos. Without it, some of the best offensive chains just aren't possible. We'll be breaking those down in the combo section. I love Wind Piercer. It hits insanely hard, helps stagger enemies, and it lets you stick to them during your combos. It's very costly in terms of spirit, but the damage and utility make it more than worth it. Especially in your first playthrough before you unlock the other big spender ability in Gale Doom. Breeze Dash is okay, but I wouldn't recommend it for new players. It requires a lot of precision and there are better ways to spend your spirit. It doesn't really offer much you can't just get from dodging and attacking. Nimble Blitz along with Range Gust aren't game changers, but they have their uses. Nimble Blitz gives you a small extra attack, and Range Gust can chip away at mobs or provide breathing room. It's good for clearing out trash enemies. Don't expect them to carry you in boss fights, but the extra damage is definitely nice. Anything that helps reduce stamina costs is a win in my book, which means that Fleet-footed is a must pick. Stamina is arguably the most important stat in the game, and Fleet-footed helps you squeeze out extra stamina for longer strings and to stay aggressive. Aggressive action is a solid pickup if you're playing a dodge-heavy playstyle. It's quick and helps break enemy stamina. It's a nice option to have. Deafness is an absolutely amazing ability, but it's not for everyone. Deafness rewards dodging with a massive damage boost, making it ideal for advanced players who want to push the limits of Dual Wield. It will be the centerpiece of the second build I'll be going over later. Gust is honestly not great. It's slow, keeps you locked in place, and doesn't even bring the damage to justify using it. Unless you're trying something really experimental, I'd skip it. It's probably my least favorite skill in the entire Dual Wield arsenal. Cold Blood is a fantastic ability. It gives you more stamina and spirit when brink dodging, which is something you'll end up doing naturally, even if you're not trying. It's reliable and it works in every single build. Wind/Step is situational. It helps you get back up on your feet after a knockdown, which can be clutch, but the spirit cost makes it hard to justify outside of very specific situations. Overall, it doesn't really hurt to grab it if you have the extra skill points to have it as an option. Disciplined action is fantastic. Invincibility frames are a must in any Souls-like. Grab this as soon as it becomes available unless you're trying to do some kind of no dodge challenge. It's fantastic and it works in every build possible. Zephyr isn't terrible, but with how limited your spirit is, I just don't think it's worth it. Better options are always available. Blowback is just a super solid skill that gives you a little bit of extra chip damage. You should be using Brink Guard on pretty much every build. Ironclad is great. It helps you have more stamina, and as mentioned earlier, stamina is the best stat. It's always good. The only reason not to take this is if you're deciding to go with a full dodge build, which is possible, but it's significantly harder. I personally wouldn't recommend skipping this. Flash Cutter is the ultimate panic button. It's great for newer players and even experienced ones who just want a way to avoid annoying attacks. I personally used this on my first playthrough against things like Volbino's Fire Nail or Malika's edgy katana sheath ability to completely bypass them. I don't use it as often now that I'm better at the game, but I still keep it at the ready for certain abilities and situations. Reversal is one of the most important skills for a dual wield user to master. Reversal gives you a significant amount of extra damage at your combos when you use it. Additionally, it sends you right back to safety. This is a very hard skill to learn and to master, but when mastered correctly, it rewards the user with a significant amount of extra damage and safety. This should be on every dual wield build, no matter what. The entire resource tree is very solid. Everything here is valuable. Spirit generation becomes increasingly important as your build levels, and certain endgame abilities become more costly. So don't neglect this tree and make sure it's always maxed out. Reflection is incredible once mastered, but it is very difficult to use. I don't recommend investing points here during your first run. That said, if you take the time to learn enemy patterns and get the timing down, Reflection becomes one of the most powerful tools in the entire game. Brutal Attack Reap is the best passive in this tree. Healing on brutal attacks means that in a typical boss fight, you're basically getting a free health potion from downing the enemy 2 or 3 times, which is excellent for sustain, especially during the lengthy marathon bosses at the end of the game. In this tree, we also have Brutal Attack Execution. It's not helpful in boss fights whatsoever, but it's extremely fun and effective when clearing mobs throughout each level. Plus, it just looks incredibly cool and is super satisfying to use. The Javelin tree is a total luxury. It's there if you really want to use javelins, but otherwise, skip it. Make sure to invest in your core kit first, unless you want to become a Javelin main instead, in which case, this isn't the video for you. The counterattack tree is very important. Counterattacks are easier to execute than Reflection, and still incredibly effective. You should aim to learn this for every boss fight. If you're more comfortable dodging, that's fine too, but countering gives you better damage windows and momentum in each fight. Lastly, we have the Phantom Form tree. Personally, I'm not a fan. The extra health bar is strong, but unless you go all in on the tree, the damage falls much shorter of other refined builds. If you want to do a Phantom themed run, go for it, but it's not my recommendation for dual wield mastery. There are 2 primary dual wield builds I'm going to highlight. One is the beginner friendly build that I made and centers around Howling Blade. The other is a much higher skill cap setup I first discovered from the YouTuber Ongball, who is basically a Souls pro. It uses deafness to stay aggressive and deal massive dodge damage. First, I'm going to go over the Howling Blade spam basic combos. The most basic of these combos is light attack, heavy attack, heavy attack, heavy attack. This is what will activate Howling Blade for you and will be your most common form of attacking the enemy. Next up, we have a Charged Gale heavy attack into another heavy attack, and then finally using a reversal for more damage and to get back out of the fight. This is a large damage combo that procs Vigor and gets you right back out of the fight. The next one is extremely basic. It's just a sprinting charged heavy attack into a follow-up heavy attack. This will deal a ton of stamina damage and allow you to first set up your Howling Blade spam to continuously stagger the enemies. The next combo is one you'll want to use if you're sprinting at the boss. You'll first want to use dodge, and then use light attack into heavy attack, heavy attack, heavy attack. This is your Howling Blade combo, but you can't activate your Howling Blade combo straight out of a sprint attack, so what we're going to do is activate dodge first, which will allow us to go straight into the Howling Blade combo. Similarly to the dodging combo, we have the running charged heavy combo. This is the same exact thing as the last one, except instead of dodging, we're going to use our heavy attack to go straight into our Howling Blade combo. You have to use either a charged heavy attack or a dodged attack out of a sprint in order to go straight into your Howling Blade combo. Lastly, this isn't a combo, but it's something you can add to every single one of your attacks, and that is the charged back dodge. This activates reversal, which is fantastic at the end of certain combos to get you both to safety and deal very high damage. This is something you'll want to learn to add to the end of combos for this build and the next one. For boss tactics, I like to start with a Phantom Sword Dance. Then I like to wait for them to leave an opening for me to land a huge charged heavy attack into another heavy attack. Using a running charged heavy to the enemy's back, then following up with another Y into a standard Howling Blade chain will knock most enemies out of their current attack and begin to stagger them. Not only that, but hitting them in the back will allow us to deal much higher damage. Then, when there's a big opening, pop your Gale to trigger Vigor and follow up with a heavy attack. Use Flash Cutter to dodge annoying enemy attacks, and use Wind Piercer with your excess spirit. This will make you stick to the target and help you deal a ton of extra damage. Next up, we're going to get into the more advanced Deafness build. I would be lying to you if I said I had mastered this build. This requires significantly more skill than the last build. It does eke out a little bit more damage, but if you're looking to just beat the game, then I heavily recommend using the Howling Blade spam build instead of this one. For the Deafness build, the most common combo you'll need to learn will be light attack into a forward dodge, into a light attack, into a forward dodge, and you'll just keep repeating that until the enemy's about to strike back, then hit them with a big reversal. This combo will apply an immense amount of pressure to the enemy and often stagger them backwards. Due to its synergy with Deafness, you'll be dealing a ton of extra damage as well. The second new combo you'll have to learn will be the Whirlwind combo, which is very easy. It's just a light attack into a heavy attack, heavy attack, heavy attack, much like the Howling Blade combo. The difference with Whirlwind will be that you need to look for specific openings on bosses before you use it. If you use it at the wrong time, you're not going to be able to dodge out of it, and you will be punished accordingly. This build will also still use charged running heavies and reversals like the other build did. For boss tactics for this build, use your Deafness enhanced dodges to stay aggressive. Spend your spirit on Wind Piercers to stay on top of enemies and keep them staggered. When you find a long opening, drop heavies, Whirlwind, or Ruthless depending on the opening for big damage. The key here is movement. Constantly repositioning to get behind enemies and land your charged heavies, and continuously apply pressure. This build is absurdly hard to master, and it's not for the faint of heart. Even I have difficulties controlling it and still just prefer to use my tried and true Howling Blade build. This build is a very fun change of pace, and I look forward to mastering it in the coming weeks. With all that being said, if you want to master the Dual Wield, this is pretty much the peak, and will eke out a small bit of extra damage and aggression. If you want to see a master in action using this build, head on over to Ongbal's channel. He pilots this build to absolute perfection. To use this build, you need to be a master of your own stamina and enemy attacks. If you're not a pro and just want to beat the game, I still heavily recommend just using the Howling Blade spam build. Now, onto armor and accessories. The Butcher set is the most high offense set you can do. It's perfect for your first playthrough. It will get outscaled in New Game Plus and at the very last boss, but its damage is very difficult to beat, and it's extremely easy to craft. The Blood Fiend set is more of a bruiser option, and my personal favorite choice once you get to the final boss or New Game Plus. It's a lot more comfy than the Butcher set because it allows you to shrug off hits much easier. You'll need to get your agility to at least B. Anything lower feels clunky. I recommend 45 vitality and 35 strength to hit exactly 75% weight and unlock that B tier agility. The stat requirements and the crafting materials are the biggest thing holding this one back from being usable early in the game. And this is why I really only recommend it for either New Game Plus or the final boss of the game. The Bloodthirsty Fiend set gets especially great in New Game Plus because it acquires a powerful new bonus effect to add to Phantom Dance, and other strong effects alongside it. In comparison, the Butcher set really doesn't get anything good from the New Game Plus set, making it get outscaled even further. The Great General set is a great niche option for counter builds. If you're looking to make a counter heavy build, then this pairs very well with that playstyle. There are some bosses in the game whose burst attacks are very easy to counter attack, and they do them very frequently. I do think this is a very nice solid set versus those specific bosses. It also has some fairly defensive passives, so if you want to learn how to use counter attack without being punished too hard, then this is a great armor choice for that. This armor set is also only a 5-piece, which allows you to combine it with other powerful 3-weapon set combos. For weapons, either use the ones that pair with your armor set, or use the warrior weapons. The warrior weapon set combines greatly with Blood Fiend or Fallen General. They're a great combo as those sets do not have a need for the 6th slot all of the time. And boosting Wind Piercer damage is extremely powerful. Wind Piercer is the best spirit ability that Dual Wield has. For accessories, the Strategist set helps a lot in your first playthrough. It gives you 30% extra damage reduction, which helps you survive big boss attacks. This is RNG though, so it won't be able to save you every time. The next accessory is the Cutthroat Ring and Amulet. This is hands down the top choice for offense. Stack this with Assassinate Elixirs, heavy attacks, and already high backstab damage for absolute peak DPS. This is my personal favorite choice as I make it an effort to target the enemy's back every time now, and this is a massive damage increase. The Pilgrim set is also great as it helps deal high damage from your heavy attacks. It works really well with the Great General set for chipping down enemies through heavies and counter attacks. Lastly, the Resistant Necklace and Rings are always a viable choice. If you're struggling with a boss who has a particular status effect that is annoying you, such as Fire Resist for Volbanian or Poison for Aratra. For Phantoms, Keshta the Undying is an excellent all-around Phantom that you can stick on and completely forget about. He provides great stamina regen, and since he's the first Phantom you get, he'll likely be higher level than any other Phantom you have. He'll be great for first playthroughs. The next choice is Maximilian the Impenetrable. He's ideal for Brink Guard playstyles. He gives you stamina on guard and improves your stamina damage. He's the best pick if you're leaning towards a tankier setup that relies more on guarding. Conrad the Swift is perfect for dodge heavy players. If you're confident in avoiding damage and using Brink dodges, Conrad gives you massive bonuses for not getting hit. He easily has the highest damage ceiling of all Phantoms, and if you're an extremely good player, he is without a doubt the best choice. Finally, we have Wulfric the Resilient. He's more of a niche choice and is only really suited for counterattack builds. If you decide to go with the Great General set, then use him as well. He provides a good mix of extra spirit and damage. So that's everything you need to know on how to master Dual Wield in Khazan. Whether you're sticking with the simpler Howling Blade spam or diving deep into the Deafness build for max damage and mobility, or creating your own build that suits your own playstyle, Dual Wield gives you an incredibly fun, fast-paced way to dominate every encounter. If you guys have any questions on tactics to beat a particular boss, don't be afraid to drop it in the comments, and I or someone else will be able to help you out. I'm very well versed at this point on every boss in the game with the Dual Wield weapons. If this video helped you out, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more build breakdowns, and drop a comment with your favorite Dual Wield setup. I'd love to hear what's working for you. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.